Hello everyone. The story is about James, a brilliant CEO who is sabotaged by John, leading to a serious accident. During his hardest times, Diep appears, caring for him and giving him the strength to fight on. Together, they form a strong alliance to reclaim justice and protect the company. It's a gripping battle between good and evil, courage and strategy. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for your support. John had been preparing for this moment for a long time. He knew that to seize control of James's company, it wouldn't be enough to rely on strength or intimidation. It had to be a carefully planned move, precise down to every detail. The accident wasn't a coincidence, it was the result of a conspiracy he had meticulously crafted. When James's car plunged off the cliff, John's mind was focused on only one thing: his chance to take over. As soon as James was seriously injured and hospitalized, John stepped into his new role, the puppeteer behind the scenes of the company. He didn't appear openly but skillfully manipulated key figures, gradually shaking the power that belonged to James. Important meetings were no longer chaired by James but controlled remotely by John and his allies. Every decision was made to benefit him, filling the pieces of his takeover plan bit by bit. John didn't stop at just seizing control, he also sowed doubt and discord within the company. He made James's close associates question their leader's ability and health, casting uncertainty on the company's future under a boss who was lying in a hospital bed. Rumors were quietly spread but quickly circulated, damaging James's reputation among shareholders and employees. The atmosphere in the company grew tense, full of conflicts and instability. Those who once respected James began to hesitate, take sides, or were pressured by John. Development plans stalled, major projects were postponed. John took full advantage of this chaos to strengthen his position, preparing for the day he would officially take over. In the cold hospital room, James was still fighting both physical and mental pain. In moments of clarity, he couldn't help but feel the heartbreak knowing the company he built was shaken by someone who once stood beside him. But James also understood this was just the first challenge, and he had to find a way back soon to reclaim what was lost. John remained cold and determined. He knew time was ticking, and just a little longer, James's empire would be completely in his hands. He smiled quietly at his opponent's despair, confident that his perfect plan could not be broken. Amid the darkest and most difficult days of James's life, when his body was racked with pain and his spirit felt like it might break, Diep appeared like a gentle, warm light cutting through the shadows. She was not a stranger but someone who had quietly understood James's burdens long before. Her arrival was not a coincidence but something destined to help James overcome this harsh trial. From the very first meeting at the hospital, Diep showed her dedication and perseverance. She was not merely a caretaker who changed bandages, took blood pressure, or prepared medication. She was a companion of the spirit, always by James's side to encourage him, bringing a fierce hope and belief in life. Every kind word, every caring glance from her became an invisible source of strength, motivating James not to give in to suffering. At first, James was still filled with fear and anxiety about his future and the fate of the company. He was confused and troubled by the plots threatening everything he had built. But day by day, under Diep's careful care, those worries began to fade. She not only took care of his health but listened and shared, helping James face everything with greater resolve. Diep was steadfast beside him, never fearing hardship or fatigue, tirelessly working even through late nights and early mornings. Feeling her sincerity and enthusiasm, James gradually opened his heart. He shared his deepest thoughts and unspoken worries with her, things he had never told anyone else. Diep never rushed or judged. She quietly listened and always created a safe space for James to trust. From that, a special bond formed between them, not just that of caregiver and patient, but a deep empathy and companionship between two souls fighting the storm together. The days spent together in the hospital not only helped James recover physically but also healed deep emotional wounds. Diep's persistence and dedication were like a guiding light, helping James slowly regain his fighting spirit. He knew he could not let John and the villains take control, nor allow all his years of hard work to be in vain. Diep also continuously studied and sought the most effective treatments for James. She researched every medicine and rehabilitation exercise, even consulting medical experts to aid his recovery. Every small success, whether a slight movement or a smile, was greeted with joy and hope. Each moment became a source of strength, proof that life always holds opportunities to rise again. Not only in the hospital, but even during the days of home treatment, Diep never left James's side. She became a close companion, constantly fueling his energy and inspiration. Her dedicated care and warm presence made James feel he was not alone in this battle. Thanks to Diep's persistence, deep care, and sincere affection, James grew stronger every day. He realized that beyond talent and intelligence, the greatest strength to overcome hardships was having people who always trusted and stood by him no matter what. Diep was that strength, the one who helped him find hope, rediscover himself, and prepare to face the challenges ahead. As James gradually recovered, Diep was always by his side, not only a strong support physically but also a flame that illuminated his spirit. Together, they endured the difficult and challenging days, forging a strong alliance, an unbreakable force. They understood that the road ahead would not be easy, but with courage and wisdom, they were ready to face and overcome every obstacle. James knew well that the enemy behind the conspiracy was not just John, the man who had once been close to him, but also a network of villains lurking in the shadows, willing to do anything to eliminate him and seize the empire. Therefore, he could not fight this battle alone. Diep was not just his caretaker but also his trusted comrade and powerful ally in the plan to reclaim justice and protect all he had painstakingly built. They began rebuilding a trustworthy team, connecting with loyal and capable people within the company. Every meeting and discreet conversation was carefully prepared to form a strong coalition capable of confronting the forces manipulating the company. With her tact and finesse, Diep greatly supported James in persuading and building trust among colleagues while closely monitoring John's every move. It was not just a battle for power but also a war of wits full of cunning. James and Diep spent hours studying strategies, predicting John's next moves, and preparing countermeasures accordingly. They analyzed every weakness and flaw in the opponent's plan to exploit and strike back. This battle left no room for mistakes or personal emotions. It demanded clarity, decisiveness, and resilient courage. Besides, James never neglected self-care, training to regain his strength and fortify his spirit. He understood that only when fully healthy, both physically and mentally, could he return and stand firm on this perilous battlefield. His daily progress became a tremendous motivation for his supporters, a sign that the light of justice had not been extinguished. Step by step, James and Diep began to shake John's power base. Intense confrontations unfolded in meeting rooms, secret negotiations between factions, and heated debates that made the company's atmosphere more dynamic than ever. Every small victory brought great hope, every new ally strengthened their alliance. But the battle was never easy. John, with his ruthlessness and cunning, refused to give up easily. He unleashed new tactics and vicious blows to undermine James's reputation and weaken the morale of his loyal followers. There were times when everything seemed about to collapse, but thanks to their perseverance, determination, and steely spirit, James and Diep stood up stronger than ever. They understood that this was not just a fight for a company but a battle to protect faith, honor, and the future. Their alliance was more than just a partnership between two individuals. It was a combination of will and aspiration, steadfastness, and loyalty. They were ready to face any danger and hardship, no matter how great, to reclaim what was rightfully theirs and bring justice to those deserving. The fierce battle continued, but with unity and an indomitable spirit, James and Diep proved that nothing is impossible. They would not stop until the final victory was theirs, until justice was restored, and the truth was fully revealed in the light.